Okay, welcome to today's next level session here at Inside Real Estate for 22222222, February 2nd, Groundhog's Day, 2022. As always, guys, feel free to chat your questions in the chat box. If you have anything you'd like to talk about today, I just have something real quick. I don't have a big topic theme for today, other than I just want to update you on this seller Facebook ad test that I'm doing. That we talked about a week or so ago, where we run an ad on Facebook and we try to automatically get the address via a text. So just going to show you a few ads that didn't work and one that has started to work on that front. And then we'll just go into Q&A, whatever you guys want to talk about. So I'll bring up the screen here. I was been playing around, and you'll see that we have 13 leads at $20 a lead, but this is kind of typical. That might sound like a lot. It probably isn't a lot for people saying, hey, they want a home value report. But really, it's probably a lot lower than this because it took me about a week to figure this out. And the big takeaway around that would be that you are going to kind of waste money in the beginning when you're trying new ideas with ads. You're going to, gathering data and figuring out what works and what doesn't. So I'll just show you a few variations of this ad that failed. And the one that is working okay right now, or at least is starting to work to the point where I probably won't mess with it too much more. So you can see here, this guy has gotten 12 leads. This is the one that's working for 14 each. I had one that got one lead for 53. And then I had one that just was a total dud and bombed for about 50 bucks that I thought was clever and that you guys have seen me talk about. It didn't work at all. So we'll start with the one that didn't work. Right here. And can somebody just chat and say you can hear me? I haven't seen any comments yet, so make sure I'm not talking to myself. But here is the ad that didn't work. I thought I was being clever and funny, and that never works. Never works in advertising, or it's hard to get it to work in advertising. So I did the whole Federal Reserve is talking about raising interest rates thing. That could mean that real estate markets will start to cool down soon. So if you've been thinking about selling your Pinellas County property, now might be a good time. Click to request a free detailed report. And then I had Uncle Jerome doing like just a little bit of a speech bubble thing right here. Thank you guys for letting me know you can hear it. And this bombed. It didn't work at all. And looking back at it, if I were critiquing myself, I think I just tried to be too clever. It might have been too kind of nuanced and smart, or people had to read too much. Maybe the general public doesn't know who the Federal Reserve or Jerome Powell is. But for whatever reason, the argument that I was making here didn't resonate. Now, I did only spend $50. I mean, I'm sure I would have eventually got a few leads here and there, but $50 running an ad for like 2 or 3 days and not getting any leads, I feel okay about just saying, moving on, right? Saying, okay, I'll call that a loser and try something else. So then I didn't learn my lesson. I kept trying. So I found this GIF of a guy. This might be some popular meme. I'm not familiar with it, or some actor. Does anybody know who this is? Or is this even anybody? But basically, I just kind of recorded the guy looking surprised. And I said, free detailed home value report. You might be surprised how much it's worth. And then, basically the language, free detailed report shows what your Pinellas County home might sell for in today's appreciating real estate market. And that only got one lead for, for that $50 or so. And there was actually a comment. I don't remember seeing the comment. Let's take a look at what it was. Sometimes people get really obnoxious in your ad comments. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that, but you can get some real winners in there. It looks like whatever it was deleted either by me or another admin at the company. So that didn't work. Again, trying to get fancy, trying to make a video, right? Trying to be a little clever.
I've seen you make that expression, actually. Yes. You should have done it yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yes, he was shocked. So I thought it was going to be cute and work and that it would get a lot of engagement.
They would call it, he was agog. That would be the other word of the day, agog.
Or aghast if you had too many grapes.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Okay. So, so what is working, it's kind of funny. So the big reveal here, this has been about $20, $14 a lead, right? So we've gotten about 11 here. Is shorter ad copy. Free detailed report shows what your Pinellas County home might sell for in today's market. And then I literally lifted this. I did Google image search for home value report, found this image. It just popped up. And it just says free Pinellas home value report. And that's it. And
That's
this
great.
one is generated, yeah, 11 leads at $14 a piece. So when we say lead, it's first name, last name, email, and phone number. And remember, Facebook, evil Facebook, or Meta, decided like a year or so ago that we couldn't collect addresses anymore in our lead forms because we sell real estate. We're bad people because we're by default going to do bad things with that info. So
Mm.
so first name, last name, email, phone. That's pretty good, right? And then just a refresher. The technique here, what I was been trying to do, and this is kind of the second phase that I haven't quite nailed yet, right? So I'm still kind of wasting a little money, spending a little money, trying to figure this out. The second phase is to have a smart campaign that sends auto text. Any auto text sends a question like, "What's your address?" So I'm just going to kind of bring this up here. And I will confess that I had to do some last minute travel earlier this week. That's why we had to cancel yesterday. I wasn't watching this very closely, but the campaign wasn't getting turned on, Annalisa, for like the first most days.
Oh, oopsie doodles.
Oops. So the people weren't getting any replies at all. I'm sure somebody else listening has made this mistake with KV Core. So
I may have done that, but I can't confirm or deny it.
I literally did not have it turned to active. Like that was the mistake I made. It just wasn't toggled on. So we'll start to learn soon. But what I'm doing is say, hey, what's your street address? We'll get your home value report prepared to send over by the end of the day. And then remember our trick. I put the word "end" in there, Annalisa, to kill the unsubscribe.
Right. And that's a great hack. And I think one thing to add to that when people respond is you can also go in there and quickly add a tag for the area and or a market report for the area to go once a month automatically. I think that's kind of a nice little addition thing to like stop up some communication gaps that might be, starting somewhere. You could just proactively get those set up.
Wait. Back up. You can set them up automatically, the market report?
No. What I'm saying is it can be part of your routine to identify these things. So you're automatically popping into that new contact whenever they respond back with that area, right?
Gotcha.
And then when you get that, you can automatically, your brain can automatically say, hey, we're going to add a tag for the area that they're looking to purchase or sell or whatever it is, like seller of this area, buyer of this area, and then set them up for the market report for that area. So it's manual work, but it should be an automated thing in your head. Like, this is my next step. This is my role to do this XYZ.
Yeah. And as you're saying, we could actually put these tasks into the campaign. So we're reminded.
Yep. Yeah. And then you could pepper in, tasks to remind yourself to call them, or a voicemail drop, or a video referencing the report in a few days. Like, hey, you're going to get this, watch for it in the mail, whatever it is. But that's all good ways to kind of re-up your messaging.
So I was just talking to Levi Rogers, who's a KV Core user, about sort of something similar to this. And what he's going to do is he's actually going to send a zap to his company Slack. So he uses the messenger service Slack internally.
Oh, cool. Mm-hmm.
And he's going to send a zap that the zap will tell his team to create the market report and to mail it.
Nice. I like that.
I think he's doing that for nosy neighbor leads, not for this sort of lead.
It's a little bit of a different beast, that nosy neighbor, but it's awesome.
Yeah, just keep in mind that KV Core has that capability. You can make these campaigns talk to third-party stuff.
That's really awesome.
Yeah. So that's what I had for today. Just something quick. And as usual, guys, that's what we try to do. We try to just have like a new concept or some news to share about a campaign that may or may not be working in the beginning. And then we open up the floor to you guys. So
yeah, there's
Rich,
I was going to say there's a great question from Rich. If you want me to read it, you can read it. I don't know.
Sure, go ahead.
So Rich is saying, if you have a campaign running, example, maybe it's expired listings with lots of follow-up. If you get to the end of the campaign, can you have KV Core automatically switch them, the contact, to another campaign? So could it be like from an expired farm with occasional follow-up to something else? Would the last step have to be KV Core create a hashtag and then any prospect with that tag would be assigned a new campaign? I think there's a couple ways you could do this. I know like our campaign, I think the new buyer lead one had, or maybe it's the conversation builder or what's the long buyer one that you created?
Yeah, there's a tag switch at the end, right?
Yeah. There is a switch at the end and a task that'll say, hey, this is ending. Where are we going to direct these people? And,
right.
So you can build in circumstances like that to say, when this happens and I move someone from archive, or not archive, but like active to new, active to client, or client to close. You can have those different transitions also pick up specific communications. So there's someone impersonating me up there. And so then there was like a way to build in those triggers.
Yeah. So
all of that's available.
So yeah, a few ways, like as you said,
Mhm.
I can create a task that says, reminds me to manually, like campaign is ending, right?
Right.
Switch to another campaign. So that could be a task. And then a little redundancy there is you can add a tag, switch to, we could just call it switch longer term. I'm just putting any filler in there, but maybe the tag is switched longer. And then we'll add that at the like 11th day when this shorter term campaign is over.
Yep.
And what's happening here is that by adding the tag, this opens us up to being able to trigger another campaign based on that tag.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So now I can go create another campaign. And we'll say, hey, whenever that tag comes in, we're now going to trigger that.
Mm-hmm. And you know, I learned a quick little hack on those. You never have to go to the bottom of that section and click next. You can just click the 1, 2, 3, and 4 headers to get through that. It saves a lot of scrolling. A lot of scrolling.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
That's a good tip.
Yeah.
All right. So Rich, you kind of answered your own question. You did kind of know how to do it. So that was great.
Yep. Yeah. Arna is saying, I'm not sure how to link a Google Doc so they can go in an email. Can you show me how to link a doc, please? So Arna, it's very similar to if you were to go into like a Google Doc or a Word document or email where you're going to hyperlink information into a message. So you would basically make sure that your link is changed to anyone with the link that you share this with can access this file. And then you copy the link. And then you can drop it into a email, a scheduled mass email. You could do a link shortener and drop it into a text code. I mean, there's a lot of ways you could disperse this to specific groupings of people. You can even put it in Zoom chat.
In a Zoom chat.
I mean, it's bonkers. But basically, if you have the link to something, you can direct them to that specific information for their specific, niche of what you're sending them, which is kind of cool.
Yep. And so hit the share button at the top right, set your permissions and share.
Yeah. And that kind of leads into someone asking, what's the difference between MailChimp and Constant Contact? Maisha's asking. To me, they're both very similar newsletter type services or communication services. We do have one built in to KV Core with our advanced email, scheduled advanced emails though. So you can build all of your templates of newsletters within KV Core, Maisha, and not look at free up some cache from like Constant Contact and MailChimp and just use our templates. I would definitely encourage you to check out our newsletters.
Yep. So you can go to the advanced email editor, create your own newsletter templates. Heather did. If you look in the webinar replays recently, Heather's done a few sessions about those.
And actually, if you want to, what did you go into the top quick actions due to the email, or where'd you go?
I just went into the templates in Smart Campaigns and clicked.
Yeah, if you want to see the actual template, go into the template name there, right? And just put in newsletter. Oh, why is it not bringing it up? Okay, so the only place I can think of that should have brought up an option here.
Yeah, I know why. I was adding a new template.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go into marketing, all marketing. Yeah. And then second line down, scheduled mass emails. This is where you're going to find this little gem. When you click schedule email, you can then put newsletter here, and all of the tiles that have that little quad, whatever that icon is, it's not a pencil, are built-in templates. And you can plug and play all of this stuff. So if you're getting sent things from your brokerage, like I know RLP gets sent information, I know EXP, they get sent information. If your brokerage or you're getting information from a source, you can build all of that content with a couple of sentences, link it out to that source. But that way they're reading your messaging to get the information. And you can
So-
set these to go up to specific people, quarterly, monthly, what have you.
Yeah, and to answer the question, Manisha's asking what's the difference in adding. If you're asking like why would you do it, some people just like these platforms. They like some of the newsletter options they might have, also some of the tracking options.
Yeah.
But unless you're planning to really use those solutions heavily and you're sending newsletters very regularly, probably the email editor in kvCore is going to get you far enough. Some people do use those as a backup because it does kind of back up your database, which I can't really argue with that approach. Kind of puts it in another spot just in case the world, kvCore
Right.
servers blow up or something. Yeah.
Right.
So Theo's asking, Ryan, do you have a Facebook lead generation course for agents? The best we have, and it'll probably be evolving more really soon. I haven't kind of gone in here, in the last 6 months or so, but in our next level mastermind, let's get in there. Why is it giving me such a hard time? There we go.
I don't know. It's
Yeah, it's testy.
it's thing. Yeah.
So I gotta kind of go here, and then if you go to our tutorial section in Next Level, there is a section about Facebook ads right here.
Mhm.
The only issue is this is probably about 9 months old, a lot of this content. So the way, with how fast Facebook changes things, some of the stuff might look different, but the meat of what you would want to do is in here. And really, if you want to kind of have success with Facebook ads, I'm pretty confident that we gave you the goods. We cut right to the chase in our growth system builder section.
Mhm.
And a few of these growth systems down toward the bottom, if you kind of walk through this, we have a few examples based on Facebook. The waterfront homes one right here. If you want to know how to run Facebook ads for real estate that will be successful, just follow this process and you can change out the waterfront offer for any niche that you want.
Yeah. And what I can do as well, when I get access to edit or the doc he created, I'm going to add in links to the different newsletter sessions that we've had so you can all access that. And then I also have some additional information on what we're discussing on all of these things. So I'm going to pop all my little cheaters onto that sheet for you all today. And I have a lot of little cheaters. So,
yeah.
So buckle up.
So Rose or J Rose has a really good point on the Facebook lead format. Why not have the auto text respond with the home valuation link instead of asking for the address? You already have the name of. Well, that's a pretty good idea. So really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm asking for the address, and I guess the question is, why not just send them a link to go and use the home valuation form on the site? I would probably go a little further, and I probably will go a little further now that you've suggested that. It's a really good idea, and probably make a custom Google form or some other form that asks them a few questions about their house.
Yeah. Well, what was the one that moved? Was that Cognito or?
Yeah, Cognito forms we were using for a little while. But
I think we had a video on that. I'll try to grab the link.
Yeah, and Google Drive has gotten a lot better, their forms. So, we could come in here. Let's just do it because we have a little time and do like home valuation info quest, something like that.
Right.
How many bedrooms? Something like that, and just what's your address? What's the address?
Is there a timeline?
I'm gonna do this really quick, guys, and refine it later. Add question on the right. Now, obviously, we all kind of know this information from the tax records,
Right.
But it makes it feel more official. How many baths? How old is the home? Size of lot?
It's kind of similar to the questions that the Core Messenger bot asks. So it's basically like, what do we need to know about the home? What do you think it's worth? What condition it is, 1 to 10? I mean, those kind of similar questions I would think might help too.
On a scale from 1 to 10, what condition would you say property is in? And then I might do final question. Are you thinking about a sale/move in the next anytime soon. And then you can handle this a few ways. You could do yes in the next 3 to 12 months. Nah, no, not really.
And a refi question.
And then maybe if I can get the right price. And yeah, you can make these required.
Would you ask if they're just kind of going for information? Would you say, would you be interested in, discussing a refi after they get these initial questions, or would you add it there?
You can.
Depending
Yeah,
on where
you
things
can do
take
that.
you. Yeah.
And I think they've added conditionals. I'm not super well versed, but you can
Oh,
actually
if this,
reveal.
then that.
Yeah, you can reveal other questions. That wasn't always in Google Forms, but I did notice that sometime recently. I think we did
Gotcha.
but yeah, so just to kind of, I click the send up top, but just kind of complete the thought. If I click the little link here, I get this little link I can use, and you can actually shorten it for texting.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then going back to our campaign. Yeah, this is the gangster way to do this. Thank you for the suggestion, Rose or Jay. And you can do this with buyer leads too, right? Hey, just a few quick questions, and you can survey them about the home search, their home search. So what I call the campaign. I'm just finding the initial text that's attached to that campaign.
Right.
Initial text.
So you know what? So here's an example of what I'd say aside. Whenever you create a new template, have a naming convention. So you don't forget how they connect to each other. Because I myself have run into this too, going, which one was it?
So this might change to something like, thanks for requesting your home value report. Please click here to answer a few quick questions, and we'll get the report sent out to you by the end of the day. Something like that. I'm putting that end in there, right?
Yep.
And then I'll just do that with my link. And then maybe, hey, we'll put the link right in so it's more organic like that.
Yeah.
Please click and update. And I could insert, if I really want to go the extra mile with this, and what I should probably do is use Core Video.
Yeah.
Right. And then add a video. Let me stop. So just to show everybody how easy this is, you can just do it in line with Core Video.
And this is something you could do on the fly or here or on a desktop.
Hey, Ryan here with Forever Florida Real Estate. Thank you for requesting your home value report. We'll get that sent out to you probably by the end of the business day today, but we just need a few quick details. So with the text somewhere nearby, you can click that link, just answer a few quick questions, and we'll get the detailed report out to you. This is a human prepared report. Me and my team are actually going to do some research and let you know what a buyer might pay in today's market. It's not some computer generated thing. So go ahead, answer the few quick questions, and we'll get that back over to you right away. Thanks. So I don't know, something like that, right, Annalisa?
Yeah, exactly. It's organic, and it kind of gets people to know, like, this is what I am doing. This is what I am providing. This is when I will follow up. There's no like asking, if you don't mind, I'll be following up. It's basically like, no, this is going to be the trajectory, and I will supply you with this, and I will check back. And it just makes it a nice, tidy message.
Yeah. So I'll probably put on my cool Forever Florida Real Estate black polo shirt, so I look more like I'm in a business setting later and actually do that. But for now, that's kind of an improvement. We'll get them to fill out the form.
Yeah, I like it. That was a great idea.
Yep. Arna is saying that I need to hook up my Google account in KV Core to be able to share.
Do you want to sync your email and your contacts and your calendar, Arna? Is that what you're speaking to? I think it might be. So if
Yeah.
any of you want to sync your Google or Outlook, you can click the teeny tiny little envelope just to the right of quick actions at the top right of your dashboard. That's always there at the top right.
Yep.
When you click on that, then it'll say, hey, what do you want to sync, right? So you can choose the portions that you want to connect there.
Yep. And then just a note on Google Contact Sync. It's awesome. I think it's great because you basically can sync your phone if your phone is synced to Google.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can bidirectionally, you can sync people back to your phone from within the contact record, something I learned pretty recently.
Yep. And you
So
can choose what status you want to land them in. So
yeah.
I mean, put them in your sphere. I mean, that's what I would recommend. Your sphere would probably be a safe place so no campaigns accidentally start connecting.
Yep. So this is what I'm referring to here. So if you ever want to send somebody to your phone, you just click sync with Google Contacts, and now they're in your Google on your phone. And that was up the more actions right here.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? Let's dive into that more actions real quick because there's a lot of little Easter eggs in here that I think people aren't aware of. The first one being the unsubscribe from emails or texts. This is key because the unsubscribe is not like if somebody's like, don't call me again. Well, you can just unsubscribe the phone number, or don't email me, unsubscribe from an email. It doesn't have to be the whole enchilada initially to get no communication from you. It can be one or the other. Or if someone's like, hey, I just get too much from you, turn off behavioral alerts.
Yeah.
Maybe look at the frequency alerts are going out. You know, look at the cadence that's going and lessen that communication, but it doesn't necessarily mean they don't want anything. It just means like you might be sending it too quickly or too much. So, you know, ask them, try to ask those questions and, you know, tailor it to what they need before they give up on that. And then the other one is below in there in communication. If you ever want to find out more about people, so whatever email they register with, if it matches up with their social media on Facebook, LinkedIn, what have you, when you click on find on Facebook, find on LinkedIn, find on Google, it's going to search for that person who's associated with that email address. And that's also part of what brings in our data validation. But the groovy thing about this is if you're going to be collecting, maybe looking for another phone number or looking for birth dates of folks that you want to set up on automated birthday messages and texts, you can actually look at their about and maybe have an admin that spends 20 minutes a day doing this and just works their way through your contact list. But this is a really good way to be able to set up some thoughtful things and also try to verify they're actually real.
So I just did this was one of those seller leads I didn't have the thing set up for.
Yeah.
It was the one I got set up this morning.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So he didn't reply, but I was able to find him on Facebook. So
yep.
Now I can send a friend request. If he accepts the request, I can say, I can just, you know, hey, I need to get your address and I'll get you that report, basically.
Yep. So that's a real handy way. The other thing you can do that I want to make sure people are aware of is on the top left-hand side, see a little green medallion? This is key. This is what runs your data validation with KDCore and information on that contact with their email and or phone number when they register, or if you edit something there and you want to rerun the validation. So when you go into this, you can actually look down. So like you can think of that left-hand column as like, who are they? How'd they get here? What are they about? So you can look at this and be like, okay, here's their name, here's their email, here's their phone number, here's the tag that's associated with. But this little summary and contact validation is amazing because this gives you information at a glance. Okay, when did they sign up? When were they last on my website? How the heck did I land them on my dashboard? Is there a key point that I can speak to about them that the system might be telling me? Have we run a contact validation? What did the validation find? And it'll show you the history of all of that. So it's a pretty neat little tool. You can kind of think of it as segments like a restaurant menu. You've got your left hand is like your contact. Who are they? Where'd they come from? What are they doing? The middle is like the whole history, everything. And then you've got in the middle, you can think of that as your transaction pipeline across the top, right? And all of your notes. You can click on all activity, that little drop down just to the right of the search. all activity. And this gives you different views of different elements within that contact. So if you want to see everything they've saved or viewed, or want to make sure you've responded to questions, this is your chance to do that and be your proactive day-to-day agent stuff. And then the right-hand side is your communication hub. This
Can I
side
share
is
one more?
all
Can I
about
share one more thing
communication.
before the right-hand side? Just a little tip is the
Yes.
pinning of notes is
Oh,
really cool.
that's a great one. Yes. Yep.
So if I come back to the main tab here and I add a note. So
yeah, and
as,
this is the only place you ever need to add a tag, a hashtag symbol in KV Core. This is the only place. So if you're going to create a
if I want
hashtag,
to add
this
a
is the only
hashtag.
one. Yeah, this is the only place you need to actually add the symbol.
Yeah. And then click add note. Oh, and then I'm going to click down here, pin to top.
Yep.
Add note. And now this information, maybe I had a phone call about this person, is always pinned to the top of the contact record.
Yep. And that's where you can put their kid's name, the dog's name, you know, the cat's name, whatever it is. But that's some good stuff you can keep in front of you to keep top of mind.
Yeah. So great. Now you were saying up here, the Action Center, Annalisa?
Yeah, to me, this is basically your communication hub. Like, how can I reach out to these people? And then you've got your more actions, which we just kind of covered. But the cool thing about the call is you can click schedule and you can actually go out and say, like, you know what? Oh, you're not moving or you're not retiring for another couple of years. Great. You know what? I'll be in contact X amount of times over the next X amount of time.
You don't have to tell them that. Like, hey, I'm going to call you every 3
months. Well, sure, I know, but I'm just saying that's how you can think of it while you're speaking with them. Like, you can kind of gauge it out, like, okay, but this allows you to let the system just evenly distribute that over that time span for you. And then this will come up as one of your calls to make that day on that specific date.
Yeah, so this will remind you in the system. That's a really powerful feature that I always forget about.
It's pretty awesome. And then the other one that's really cool in here, did you have another one in more actions?
Oh, no, I was just clicking.
Okay. That's okay. And then like what I always refer to are like the 3 communication gaps that I identify. So if you scroll down just below the core concierge follow-up part, always make sure you've got your property alerts humming along, your campaigns and market reports.
Yeah.
And then
that's
the other, yeah, I mean, it's just good practice.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is like, get into the habit of thinking, okay, if they register and they're looking in Pinellas County, well, then I'm automatically going to send them up for a Pinellas County once a month market report or this zip code market report. It's just going to happen. And it's going to be one of the services. And what you can do as part of your daily, like thoughtful thing you might do for people is you set up the report and then you send off a quick text or email saying, hey, watch for this report. I want to make sure you're on top of the real estate market in our area because there's so much happening. And then just let them know that this is going to be information they can rely on getting from you regularly.
Yeah.
And then the other one, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Listing valuation.
Yep, you can do the listing valuation. That's where things will fall when they register. You can also enter them in your manually as an agent and send out a report. And
now this
then
will send this sends one time or it sends
once.
Yeah.
And what you can do in relation to that is right below it, you've got your seller report. So once the people list with you and you have that live listing, drop that MLS ID in there and click add, because that's going to automate a weekly report. It's a nice little gimme report, but it's a good little report. And it just goes automatically just saying, hey, there's been this many people that visited your property on the MLS this week. And then as the listing agent, you have the ability to actually add notes to that listing in KV Core and they'll land on that report. So if you have a showing or feedback or information you need to share with them, you can just drop it on there and it just goes.
That's from the listings tab, right?
Yes. So if you go to the listing and it's one that you're representing, you'll have access to something called the timeline.
Yeah, I don't think I don't have any listing inventory, so I won't be able to do that here, but
that's okay. I mean, we can still look at one of them. Yeah. But on that, you can look at the timeline, and as an agent, you can click onto that and you can choose to either have it show publicly on the report, or you can add the note and save it for a private conversation you're going to have with them, but you still have it noted to follow up on. So there's all sorts of little Easter eggs in here. I mean, I could go for days, but,
Yeah.
but I don't want to over inundate people, especially if they're writing furiously right now.
Excellent. Thanks, Annalisa. And that kind of
Yep.
segues into the next question. Betty's asking, how can you print a market report for a zip code to mail to your neighborhood? Can you email those to yourself, the market reports?
I would think so. I mean, like what I might do is do a postcard with a text code or a QR code tied to the market report, so they have to opt in to get it. Or
That's a good
even have
idea.
it, or even actually, know what would be better, to put a market report squeeze link into a landing page, because it's seamless when they log in via a landing page.
Yeah, so you can build a market report squeeze.
Mhm.
So that might be one way. You build the market report squeeze and then print it out, Betty.
Yeah.
So if I go to build squeeze right here, and then just do like the zip code. You know, you put your other tracking stuff on there, but if you go
Yeah,
to
make
the
sure you get a
link,
hash in there.
yeah, make sure you put that stuff in. I was just kind of showing the,
Yeah.
and then
it's
it
gonna
might
run
ask you to
yeah.
log in,
Yeah.
but we could print this page.
I don't know how it
Yep.
formats.
I'm not sure how it formats. The other thing you can do is go to the area page for that area.
Mhm.
So you go /areas/ so it's kind of another form of a market report.
That was really fast. So let's go back to the front side of your page so everybody knows what you were talking about.
Yeah.
On those areas. So if you click on the Forever Florida at the top left, Ryan, please. Thank you. So at the bottom of your website, everyone, or close to the bottom, there's this areas we cover. And all of these little areas we cover lead to what Ryan just showed you as the alternate. So you can coach your contacts to click one of these cities or zip codes or whatever you have down here. And when they do, we're going to pull in all of this live data from your MLS, because your MLS lives on kvCORE and it lives in your dashboard, always pulling the most up-to-date information the MLS pushes to us. So it's going to identify all of this. So this is a way you could loop that in, or help your people empower themselves by checking out your site. And then this is basically like a little rabbit hole. They can see the total, new, reduced, open houses. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see like the market help, a map. And then below that, sometimes, depending on how a listing is entered, you might see additional neighborhoods or areas within the area they're currently looking at, which also leads to further clicks. So it's a neat way to kind of tell people, hey, you know what, when you use my site, you can use this to see that. You'll be able to navigate to this. All of your information is private. You know, everything they save is, you know, you'll ultimately see. Everything they view and click on, you'll ultimately see on your dashboard. So it's a real win-win for them, and ultimately gets to your visuals.
Cool. Tom's asking, could homes be changed to properties? It depends. If you're referring to maybe a smart campaign, Tom, I'm not sure where that message went out from, but you should be able to change anything that's smart campaign related.
I'll bet it's behavioral.
Yeah, if it was a behavioral, all you can do is turn it off for now, but they are actively working on making those editable.
Yeah.
So.
It had to be a behavioral. I bet they viewed a property X amount of times or favorited it, and it went out.
And it sent one of these messages.
Yep.
Like your home. Yeah.
Yeah.
These will be editable soon, but if that's really kind of an issue, Tom, you can just come in here and turn that particular message off right here. So.
But I'd leave it on.
All right. What's that?
I would leave it on.
Yeah. It's not killing you. These actually, yeah. To Annalisa's point, these actually do generate a fair amount of interaction, whether you love the scripts or not. They do get people talking to you.
It's like I've seen them used consistently for 7 years, and I haven't heard really many complaints about them at all, because they have a little hook in them. They're organic. They look like you wrote it, and they're short and sweet.
Yeah, you know? I don't touch my kvCORE. Like, I'm not actively selling, but the leads that I put in through the tests that I do, or that just end up in there, usually that's when I'm forced to deal with people, because the behaviorals surface them despite me.
Right.
People are like, hey, I want to see a house. I'm like, oh man, I gotta go refer this,
You're like, oh gosh, I gotta find my red hat.
But but it's an example of the system. You know, if you can feed kvCORE, with fresh leads and contacts, it will even if you do nothing, it will start to get people talking to you on some level. And behaviorals are one of those things. And Arn is asking, I can find it later and forward to somebody. Customer service is taking hours right now. Yeah, I'm not sure, Arna, what you're referring to is the Google thing.
You know, one thing people may not know about support is you can actually book a phone call with them. So let's show them how to do that.
Yeah, how soon?
Actually, there's stuff up almost every day because it's kind of an Easter egg.
Oh, okay.
So if you go up and just type in support in the search for help.
Wait, am I doing it right here?
Yep, either place that works. Or actually, you know what? If you scroll down, just click contact support and billing right at the top that just came up. Okay, within this, it says live chat support, email, schedule a call. Click here, and this actually opens up the support calendar. And that very first option is the support team. And this is where you can actually book out calls. So the next one's Friday, which isn't too far away. And there's quite a few openings. So, you know, this is a really great place if you're like, I just need to talk with somebody. This is where you go. And I will grab my link for that and drop it on that doc for you.
Yeah. But otherwise, the chat team, they will get back to you. You know, it's hard with, 100,000 or more users hitting the chat, even though we have a pretty good team. It does need to take a few hours sometimes, unfortunately, but they will get back. And our documentation is pretty comprehensive if you search for stuff here. And I will also mention, not that it's for support issues per se, like, hey, something's broken, we can't really help. But in the Facebook group, if you kind of have general questions, they will get answered in the Facebook group too.
Yes. If it's something more technical, I might be like, well, it's something not we can just answer off the cuff. Then we'll redirect it to support. But we really try to answer questions as much as we can in there.
I'm going to tell this person not to do it. Here we go. So, just kidding. Not unless you got, I tell everybody 6 months, man. 6 months in the bank, at least.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully you don't get that far. You'll know within 3 months whether it's time to start looking for a job, and I'll give you another 3 months.
Right. Let's see here. Oh, Arna has a great question or a comment, I should say. It would be really cool or great if the pin the note to the top had a different color tab than the other messages and reminders. That is a great idea. What I would recommend is submitting a feature request via the little chat bubble at the bottom right of KDE Core. When you initiate a chat, like send a message, there's options, and one of those is to feature request. And just type in what I would recommend, because they're always going to come back and ask you if you don't. I would say, what is it you're seeking? Is there an example of what you can supply to say, this is what it does for us, and this is what it'll do for all of the agents, and this is how it'll benefit us. So, you know, really kind of lay out almost like a thesis, not like huge, but a good explanation of what you're seeking and how it benefits everybody as agents and users, to show them like why they should do this for everyone. And Michelle is saying, can we create a property alert for a school district? You can if you use a keyword filter, or if your MLS pulls districts.
Can you just draw the map though?
Oh, you could draw the map, yes. But if you go into like the little further down, when you go into
this,
a little further down, right where it says keywords right there. Some MLSs. So what this does is it pulls filters directly from your MLS. And you should be able to put like school or school district or whatever your MLS might call that initial primary filter to identify that. And then it's going to give you the sub filter of what district. But it just depends on how your school district filters things. Or you can try to put it in here or put an elementary or something. But sometimes it just pulls in the areas around the schools, not the district per se.
For my money, I mean, I know it would take a minute to do, but for my money, I would just click draw area and be like, oh, it's roughly here. You kind of know the boundaries. You don't have to be
and perfect. You can draw two of those.
Yeah, so you draw again like that. I'm just clicking a left click. That's kind of the best way to make sure, because the MLS data, you're kind of relying on the MLS data. It's not great in every market, and in some markets you're relying on other agents to mark that column off, right?
Right. Yeah, it's really reliant on how the listing agent put the listing in.
But if you do this, then you're kind of catching everything in the area. Just might have spent 5 minutes like learning the boundaries if you don't know them already.
Yeah. And some people will actually go on their front side of their website. I've seen, I think it was William Shanahan's group that did this. Realty Executives, I think. But they actually went and built custom pages, and they have a custom page for school districts.
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
basically it's like click here, click here, click clear, and then it shows all of the homes within that school district.
Do you remember that URL or no?
Oh, I think I have it saved in my Rolodex. I don't know. Let me find it.
That's just a cool example to share. But basically, they built like
Yeah.
they built their squeeze links out, put them all on a page, kind of like I do with my deals links right here. Is that sounds like what you're talking about?
Yes. Yeah, I'm
That's
looking for it, but I'm not finding it super quick. But if I find it, I will drop it on that doc for everybody.
Cool.
It's been a while since I've shown it to anybody, but that's a really cool idea to kind of embrace too. And then I think the other thing here's a good question that I've got for you, Ryan. So I was talking with an agent, I think it was Tuesday, this week's flying by. And she said, you know what, how do I relate to people who are in the younger generation with me? Because I feel like younger folks aren't looking towards older agents to help them, right?
Yeah.
And she wasn't sure how to relate to them. And I'm like, well, you got to think about what's important to them. Are they moving to a home that is they want more transit, or they want to have that commute, or do they want to have things near a grocery store or daycare, or do they want a nightlife with a vibrant life? So you can build things onto your site, like with Local Logic, that people can use to identify those areas with a heat map.
Yeah, but that question in general, I mean, rapport is rapport, right? So
yes.
sometimes you're just not going to have rapport with people who aren't similar to you. That's okay. My advice to that person would be to start creating content that caters to them. And
that's what I told her. And I was like, think about, like, she goes, well, I know I need to start doing reels, which she was nervous about. She's like, but I'm ready to jump into it, And I just thought, you just have to think about what relates to them. So if you're going to talk about the community, if it's an active community or people moving from a specific area to go hiking in Colorado or fishing in Idaho, talk about those things. Supply information about that. Supply your community expertise. Who do you have connections with? Because you can probably relate to everyone out there. It's just maybe the information, how it might be presented.
Yeah, so 7 ways to start saving a down payment for your first home. So yeah, just this would be an example. Fire up a slide, create information that would be relevant to the youngsters.
Right.
but I wouldn't go.
I wouldn't stress.
I wouldn't throw a backwards hat on and start a TikTok channel if that's kind of not your deal.
No,
like that.
Oh,
no, I would say the better thing to do would be like, all right, well, who will I have rapport with, and how can I attract a lot of those people?
Right.
Generally,
generally
it's going to be people who kind of like look and talk and are from the same time period as you. Not to be discriminatory, but I think that's
it's true.
To start building
we niche. Relate to our own people. Yeah.
Yeah. So sure, you want to, if you get a first time buyer, and you have a big age gap between them, play on your professionalism, make sure you're putting out content that would attract them. But from a lead generation perspective, we talk about our niches sometimes, you want to set yourself up to win. So
yeah,
if you're in your 60s, maybe working with people who want to downsize is a good place to go, for example.
Yeah, and I actually did talk with someone like a couple of months ago who had transitioned to that, and all she does now is help people transition and downsize, and then she also owns part of a concierge company to help people move, as well as a transitional house. So if they sell before they have a place, they have a place to land and a storage facility. So she's like set up this whole process of a commitment to helping people get everything organized and out, and even resale if they want to downsource furniture or collectibles. So, there's a lot that you can think about to that too.
Yeah, that trying to cater to the younger crowd might be a limiting kind of belief, in the just like, hey, if I'm going to appeal to first time home buyers, I need to do these specific things. But the fundamental thing is, do you really want to cater to first time home buyers? Is that a fun life?
right.
They don't have money, where you could instead go, let's focus on income properties priced over $1 million and deal with people buying their third, fourth, fifth investment property because they've already got $1 million.
Right. There you go. Get a nice little turn going.
Yeah. But yeah, that's an interesting question. Tom's question, he had a lead outside of KV Core to search. emailed them a link and they signed on, but they got an auto message. I guess a best practice for that, they probably just got your automated smart campaign if they got it right away.
Yeah.
So a best practice for that might be to manually enter them and set the campaign yourself.
Or even put them in as a sphere or a prospect.
Yeah.
That way it won't pick up.
But again, if the automation does something that makes you feel or look a little silly, just blame the automation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was my dumb system. Sorry. If they're like, why did you just send this to me? That people understand tech and automation. I hear a lot of people get like, it sent a message and it made me look silly. No, the system looks silly. You didn't look silly.
Right.
That's all. Good question from Michelle. If we draw the school districts, can we save it and use it again? Maybe not.
What was the question again? Let me see.
So she wants to know if she draws the school districts for alerts, can they be used again?
Well, you can if you do a squeeze page and then you create the automated alert for that.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe we would just create a rule-based automated alert right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would create one for a school district, and then what you can do is you can assign hashtags. So let's just call it XYZ school district would be my hashtag. Right. So whenever that is assigned, then I could draw the school district here.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want somebody to be on that school district alerts, I just go into their contact record and assign them that hashtag.
Yep.
Does that make sense, everybody? Or did I is that a little abstract? So draw the school district.
The big school.
And then daily. So what we just did is we went to marketing, we did add auto assign search alerts. Now, anytime somebody gets that hashtag, they'll start getting alerts for that. So if I want to assign somebody to that, I got to go into their contact record. And then I will add that hashtag over here. Tom's asking, how do I move a logo from the landing page? You got to do it before you save the landing page, but it's pretty simple. You just double click it.
My thing is like double click it, 86 it.
Yes.
Thing. And just keep in mind, this warning will come up saying, hey, you might not be, in regulation with your MLS if you remove your logo. So just be aware of that when you do that. That's my devil's advocate for the day.
Yep.
Michelle's saying, hey, can we connect SkySlope? You can connect SkySlope. There is a great article about it within the chat portal. If you click in there, I haven't seen that in a while. The guy got distracted. Sorry, everybody. I haven't seen him quote Mr. T in a while. You can actually, you can actually connect SkySlope, and I'll drop the link for you on the doc. But yes, there's different transactions you can connect within KD Core.
There we go. Landing page of the day.
I love it. That's great.
But don't try this at home.
No. Wear a helmet.
And on that note, we are approaching the end of the hour. I am losing. My ADD is kicking in hard. Staying focused for 52 minutes is a tough thing to do.
You did it though.
Yep. Thank you everybody for all your great questions. The replay of this will be available in just a few minutes at insiderealestate.com/webinars right here. And we will be back. I just got to move it into the playlist here, but we'll be back tomorrow at the same time for a similar session.
Yeah, I will not be able to attend. I'm booked, but I'm so glad I was able to join you guys today, and I hope you all have a great rest of the day.